Red light. Going.
Red light. See,
We're live.
it was not this last time.
No, it wasn't. It was something completely different. Okay.
All right.
Technology.
Yeah. Well, here we are.
Yeah. Welcome to the Keeping Tabs podcast, episode number 3. I'm the Cynic. That's the Idealist.
Ideally.
Feeling pretty cynical about the homeless situation in Denver today.
Oh, my.
Yeah. So I'm not sure that's a solvable problem.
Who did you say referred to it as The Walking Dead? Because that's so accurate. My God.
It was just me. That was all me, dude. So you're welcome for that one. She just reminded me of The Walking Dead. And then you said Zombieland, and I was like, right on. Like, let's go down the list of those movies.
Dude, that lady in traffic today, full lean, full. I mean, that was actually impressive.
A little bit impressive.
To hold that pose, any yogi enthusiast would have been like, I couldn't do that.
I was thinking the same thing.
Dude, like, I mean, she was fully bent over. And she had, dude, I don't know if you saw, she had one hand, she had one thumb through her like belt loop.
Yeah.
Like she was doing like a teapot.
Yeah.
It was like a really advanced, I'm a little teapot high on fentanyl. I didn't realize you had told me recently that the reason that they like hunch over like that is because they're fighting off sleep. Because if they sit down, they go to bed. But they're also so high that they can't like normal movements elude them.
That's what I heard. I don't know how true it is, but
That makes sense.
it does make sense.
Yeah.
And really anything that makes sense to me is ultimately the law. You know what I mean? So,
What are you keeping tabs on? This is the Keeping Tabs podcast.
keeping tabs on the homeless situation. I actually, on our way to go pick up some of this stuff, I noticed that there was somebody smoking meth in like a nice little like couch cushion.
There's a good fort.
Like fort?
Like a 8
Yeah.
out of 10 fort.
It was nice.
Yeah.
And I noticed a meth pipe in a woman with no like teeth's hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a little bit concerned about taking the picture because there were a lot of homeless people there. It was a little scary, but ultimately I got the footage and, maybe I'll share it right here. Maybe I won't.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. Anybody who lives in a big city understands homelessness is it's an issue,
The blight.
but it's
Yeah.
like it feels like an inconvenience, which is like not a good way. I don't want to feel that way about people, but like homelessness feels like an inconvenience to society. But like, what do you do? What's like, dude, that is probably the most difficult
problem.
because there's so many moral and ethical quandaries that arise.
I just don't think that there's anything you can do because there are inherently going to be people that slip through the cracks when you have a consensus as to what a society is supposed to look like. Because if it's sort of anarchy and everybody gets to do their own thing, then it's anarchy and everybody does their own thing. But if we all kind of collectively agree that this is how society is supposed to run in a civilized manner, there are people that are just naturally always not going to assimilate with that, period. And so what do you do for those people? And so I think that's where social programs come into play and why I think guys like Dave Smith are fucking like batshit stupid when they say like everybody can just pick themselves up and just work hard. And I'm like, not everybody's the same, Dave. Like some people are just not going to fit into the society that you see as being the proper society.
So what do you do with the crazy lady in the middle of the street, hunched over because she's high on fentanyl and not exactly sure where she is?
You snatch her up off of the road,
Put her in a white van,
institutionalize
padded
her.
room.
No. And this is where it's like, what do you do, right? Because you can't, well, you can, because we're doing it right now, let them kind of run amok and do as they've been doing and sort of just causing a menace to society.
That's why they feel like an inconvenience currently, right?
Right.
Like you're riding your scooter down the path and you're like, oh, gotta navigate these guys who are high on whatever.
While abiding by the rules of the society that we've all sort of collectively agreed are the rules that we play by, right? And so the rules are changing a little bit because we're now becoming more accustomed to them. And so we're like, okay, do the rules mean that these people can leave syringes on the street and smoke meth in front of people and stand in front of traffic in yogi poses? Or do we then need to reevaluate? Like, because we went in like the polar opposite direction from the institutionalism days where we would just like snatch them off the street, put them in a padded room with no due process and say, you're crazy. Obviously that's not the direction you want to go in, but why not reform that process so that potentially you take somebody off of the street and give them some due process, right? They didn't commit a crime, but maybe there's some middle ground where you can like put them in front of a judge or jury of their peers where they can then plead their case as to why they should be allowed to not be institutionalized. And maybe that's a crazy thing. And I'm saying it out loud. It sounds nuts. But in my head, it sounded a lot better and less inhumane.
I mean, essentially we have that, but it's jail, right? There's no like other thing. It's just like, if, you know, like those people, as long as they're not committing atrocious, violent crimes, you know, for the most part, they're hurting themselves.
Sure.
Right? It's like, yeah, that's annoying when you have to walk over them. It's annoying when they're in the traffic and, you know, we have to like get somebody to, you know, nudge them in the right direction so they wander off away from the busy street. And like, you know, it's an inconvenience, but it's like, you know, they're really only hurting themselves. They don't seem to like, I guess maybe they are fucking hurting other people. Are they? Are they causing like, are the people that are high in fentanyl causing a ton of like, I mean, they're robbing cars. That's annoying. Theft is high. I mean, I assume they're the ones stealing all these catalytic converters you hear about being stolen. Like a lot of petty crime. I heard Walmart is shutting down stores in certain areas because the theft is so high that their profit margins are just non-existent now. So they have to shut down and it's literally just because of theft.
I've heard about that. I'm like, it surprises me that you wouldn't just invest more in security than just to let that happen and then just close down shop. Like, that's so wild to me.
Like, is hiring 5 security guards, like, or you're like, because Walmart's profit margins can't be that narrow, right? They can't be that thin to where like, it just, I suppose there's just no prosecution, right? And then what, are you going to shoot the people when they come in and steal the stuff? You going to shoot them? You going to tackle them? The lawsuits, then it's probably just not worth it, right? Because there's like, yeah, maybe you stop some of the crime, but now you're getting sued. Now your security guard broke his leg and you've got workman's comp. It's like, there's no, they've had to have gone through all of this in a meeting and go, let's just shut this store down.
Yeah, they've got actuarial tables. They've got all of the money. And
they're just like, this is not worth it to, yeah, that's crazy. So it's like the inmates are running the asylum.
A little bit. And I think that's the problem. I say that's the problem too much.
That's the problem.
I think that's the problem. No, they're all the fucking problem.
There's a lot of problems.
There's a ton of problems, and that's one of them.
On a lighter note,
Yeah.
Bob Barker died.
Yeah.
Is that a lighter note, or that's a much darker note?
It's both.
I thought Bob Barker died like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I thought he...
Is that a Mandela effect?
Yeah, maybe.
Was I in a reality where he did die 10 years ago, and then I've like somehow slipped through the cracks of reality, and now I'm in this new reality where he died a couple days ago?
I just know that Price is Right was never the same when Drew Carey took over, and I think everybody can agree on that. And if you can't agree on that, then you're wrong, and you know you probably don't deserve a spot in civilized society.
I had a lot of early faps in my life to some of the Barker beauties.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, never did that one.
Well, I was young, and when you were young, before, I know it's like a crazy thing to like think about in existence when porn wasn't like easily accessible at all times. You didn't have a lot to go off when I was like 12. It was like I could maybe sneak a Victoria's Secret catalog. I could risk frying the family computer to download like maybe, I don't even know what the video was because there was no thumbnails.
Yeah.
It's just like, hey, this is what we say it is.
Any Gen Z watching has no idea how bad the viruses were.
Dude, they just fried computers.
Yeah. And the people that were making them, this was like the Wild West of like creating viruses.
I fried at least 2.
Yeah. And so they just like put malware on your computer that just did chaos. Like they weren't trying to steal your information. It was just
they didn't even get to see the product of their chaos. It was just like, yeah, somebody's computer's dead.
Yeah. And they got off. And so sometimes that's how you get off.
Yeah. But Barker's
So you got off by the Barker's beauties, whereas other people were getting off creating
the best
malicious
like,
code.
I remember like the fake porn on Skinamax.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like,
it was like there was no penetration.
Well, like,
and you knew it.
It was like
the angle was just right.
Like I don't even know how that works, but it doesn't look like it would work that way. Like
you know what I did was
her vagina located like on top of her back? How does this work?
And like I hope my mom doesn't watch this, but when I was a kid, I watched scrambled porn. So again, Gen Z, you don't know what that's like. We didn't just have the internet, so
dude, porn has got to just be
wrecking our fucking brain.
It's detrimental for society.
Yeah.
It has
it's
to be,
wrecking
right?
our dopamine receptors. And, you know, as much as I rag on social media dating for having ruined like any prospect for so many men to ever be with a woman. Like, and I
But
really feel, I really
dude,
feel for these young
they're
men growing up.
symbiotically making it difficult, right?
Yeah.
Because like you're isolated, and like now, like, well, I can just go off in VR land.
Yeah.
I mean, they literally have VR porn now, right? So you can just go off in VR land, and you can have all of the intercourse you want with as many different types of women as you want.
Yeah.
And like that one over there is, and you're like, yeah, it doesn't seem like that bad that she's not paying attention to me, because at least I can escape into this virtual reality.
And it's as sad as it is, there are benefits to it, right? Because then you don't have to deal with the heartbreak and the heartache of being left for another person, or the nagging that comes from just anybody, right? Being with any other human being, because people have their,
Could you imagine trying to get off to like scrambled porn now?
no,
You couldn't do it.
no, dude.
You're just like, what is this?
If nuclear holocaust took place tomorrow, and we didn't have like the ability to look at porn, how do you go back to just like, etchings in cave walls?
That's
Like, I think I see a boob.
yeah.
Yeah,
Just have to think about it a lot.
yeah.
Remember what boobs were like.
But then our dopamine receptors are so fried that we just have to like make a new form of craps, and just fucking like make dice again,
So bad.
start over, rebuild. We can do it. We can rebuild.
I mean, they should, just to get porn back on the, like, that should be like a driving factor.
Yeah.
Like if the apocalypse happens, like, why are you trying to make cell phones again? Like,
You know what disappears if the apocalypse happens?
what?
Women's rights. And I know that's an unpopular thing to say, but when the civilized society collapses, who then prevails?
Savages.
Savages.
Fucking the worst.
The worst
The worst of the worst.
of the worst. It's horrifying to think about, but the civilized society that we've all collectively agreed upon doesn't take into account the savagery of innate human nature that then becomes the norm when society collapses. You know what I mean? And with the society that we've built up over time, little by little by little, what happens when it's gone?
And then it's scary too, because you look at, like, that's why the Book of Eli is such a good
Yeah.
movie, right? Because it's like this guy knows if he gets this religion, it's like the scariest sort of scenario in The Last of Us was like the religious guy, right? The dude that was like feeding people to people and masquerading around as like a man of God, like those, because those people are going to prevail, right? Because those are going to be the people that maybe aren't the most
Those are the grifters.
savage, right? Those are the guys that
grifters.
they're the manipulators.
Yeah.
They're going to come to rise because people are going to be so desperate. They're going to look to like false idols.
That's like a Dave Smith, man.
You really hate Dave Smith, huh?
I don't like grifters, man. And like, because to me, in that society where there is the savagery and there are like the sneaky weasels, like Vivek Ramaswamy, I see you, Pete Buttigieg on the Democratic side. These dudes are fucking weasels, in my opinion. And to me, it's like brazenly transparent that they're saying whatever it is that they can say to certain demographics of people that they know will then further their ambitions to power and money. And the fact that so many people don't see through that disguise like makes me very sad.
Well, it's difficult because, I mean, grifters get to where they are because they're good at it,
Yeah.
right? Like that if you reach a level on any platform of social media by grifting, you're probably pretty fucking good at grifting. You're probably pretty good at telling people what they want to hear or whatever. And then how many people do you think start off with good intentions, and then they realize that the path to their good intentions can't be funded without, so you like kind of have to scratch this guy's back or get money. I mean, that's essentially probably what happens to politicians, right?
What's the saying? The path as paved with good intentions or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I know which one you're talking about, but
Yeah.
I can't think of the exact quote. But it's hard because it's also like no good deed goes unpunished type of. It's a similar. I don't know. It's hard for people. It's hard, dude. I have trouble. Like, is this guy a grifter? Is this guy? People's intentions, you never really know what their intentions are. Is it money? Is it fame? Is it like actual altruism where they're trying to better society? Do they start off that way and then they get corrupted because they got power? Are they, able the ends justify the means. So it's okay if I grift here, if eventually I get to like a point of prominence where I can really inflict good.
But I think that's where that saying really becomes forceful is the road to hell is paved with good intentions, right? Because you start off with these intentions that you are convincing yourself are righteous because the ends justify the means. Oh, it's okay. Like I'm just doing this right now because later on, like I can convey a better message or do this better deed. But then you have to intertwine this other saying of power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So the more power you obtain through doing these morally questionable deeds, the more you're going to sort of get off track and eventually maybe lose sight of what the goal was to begin with. And so that's why, all of these horrible things that I'm doing to get to, power and status with my podcast with my best friend are, we stole all this equipment from Walmart, by the way.
Yeah.
So
they don't prosecute you. Go for it.
They don't. Yeah. So they closed down the one actually over by my place.
Did we do that? Eventually, like, dude, I don't go to Walmart that often because I just don't like it. I think most people don't like. Are there people that like going to Walmart?
I can't imagine that's a feeling that anybody has walking
Yes, going to like. I've never walked into Walmart like, hell yeah, I can't wait to go into Walmart. It's like, fuck, I have to go to Walmart to get something that like I just don't want to pay the 10% VIG to go to Target and get, right?
Yeah.
And Target will be like a little less cringy, But it's like, dude, it's a weird energy in a Walmart.
Yeah.
Especially because the weirdest thing is like, especially the old ones, dude, there's like 1,000 cashier stands. But there's only ever 2 of them being utilized.
It makes no sense, bro. It'd be like,
and then is that, and just in case a fucking apocalyptic scenario happens and people are rushing there, it's like, no, people are just stealing the shit. We're looting it, right? We're not gonna like wait in like civilized lines. We're just gonna steal the shit if it gets really bad. And you saw like during the pandemic when it got really bad, there was just lines because there was only 1 or 2 cashiers, and then there was just a line around the fucking store. I remember waiting in lines that went wrapped up and down multiple aisles.
And that's what happens during the apocalypse. That's the first thing that happens is looting, right? And just rioting in general,
just
right?
Resource gathering.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's get as much resources as possible. How you get it doesn't really matter.
You kind of saw that in COVID, even like in the absence of looting, like when people weren't even looting and people were hoarding toilet paper. It was just resource gathering. Nobody knew, like they lost control over all of their surroundings because that was this crazy phenomenon, right? It was like, what the fuck? Why is everybody hoarding toilet paper?
I'm just glad that I take perfect poops and don't have to wipe.
No, it's
literally, it's perfect every time.
For sure. Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have to wipe.
Yeah, I've never had to worry about that either. You know what sucks is like the older you get, I feel like this might be inevitable. Maybe this is universal. Maybe this is just us. But like the more fucked up your stomach gets.
Dude.
Just I never had these issues.
Do you think it's just because of like it's probably just your body's not as efficient as it once was?
For sure.
Also, when you're young, it works so well that you kind of take it for granted and you probably put a bunch of shit into it and threw your gut biomes into whack. And I don't know enough about.
You take antibiotics one time and I took antibiotics one time and then I came out of it and I couldn't eat gluten anymore. And then I was just like, oh, I get sick every time I eat gluten. This is great. It's just like these inefficiencies. The problem is your body, like we were alluding to earlier today, or we'd spoken about earlier today, the body can repair itself to an extent. But when one thing gets broken, one mechanic gets irreversibly broken, then it's just that way forever. And then it like cascades into something else that
once you have knee pain, you have knee pain.
Doesn't go away.
You can maybe make it from getting worse, but it doesn't get better.
Yeah.
You can have some pretty
surgical
invasive
intervention
surgeries and stuff. But even then, it's like anybody that has like one of those surgeries is like, it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
It's never like it was before the injury. It's scary. I get why we gravitate towards like AI. Like, let's just get rid of like, how can I have my human emotions without the biology?
The inherent problem with that, though, is who the fuck controls the AI, right? It's the same thing like with capitalism, with communism, with like anything. Somebody's got to control this shit. And like, are those intentions pure? And I guess the ultimate goal is to make the AI the arbiter of reason and justice. But like, holy shit,
that's
how
terrifying.
Do you trust that, right? Like, you just have to trust the people that write the code, and then
you just hand over the reins to AI. And go,
sure,
all right.
Yeah, like we think we wrote the code well enough, like that you're going to be morally. But then if you're writing the code,
But who's writing the code?
Exactly. If you're making limitations in the first place, then how is it going to be truly artificial intelligence that can like truly be the arbiter of true neutral justice that makes the most sense?
I mean,
or
I
like
guess
whatever it is.
it seems like the perfect scenario is just you have your body, but there's no cancer and there's no disease and there's no aging. I mean, that's what guys like David Sinclair are like working towards, right? Like how to like slow down the aging process, or in a perfect world, make it reversible, or just you don't age anymore. Like you just stay the same.
Which inevitably is impossible.
Which age would you choose?
That's a good question.
So age is no, like you get
28.
28
for like physical 28.
28.
Yeah, for my brain, like now, because wisdom is like a completely different, specimen.
Yeah, just maintain a 28-year-old's body.
Yeah, for sure.
Because essentially, like that's what we're gonna get, right? Like designer babies, right? You just design your baby to like be perfect, and then how long it takes to grow, and then once it reaches like optimal, I guess 28 is probably best.
I think that's your prime, right? Like 26 to 29 or something like that. But there's actually a Kurzgesagt episode about designer babies, exactly that, and the moral implications of once we start down that path, there's no going back.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and then, we always complain about like not being inclusive as a society. Like this person looks different, or like, and so, but you shouldn't judge them based on that. And I agree with that completely. But what happens when you then have the opportunity to design the baby as you see fit?
Yeah.
Then we'll really see people's true colors come out, because
or do we reach a point, like, I mean, it feels like a Black Mirror episode or something, right? Where like your parents decide what they think is best for you, like they do anyways in life, right? And then think, oh, here's the genetics we think you should have. And then you get to like whatever age we say you have autonomy over yourself, which is essentially 18 in our society. And you go, no, I don't want this. I don't, like it's almost like that's what you're seeing with some of like the gender stuff, right? Like you're just like, no, hey, I am 24, 22, whatever. I don't feel the way that I look at all. So I want the outside to represent how I feel on the inside.
And I've always understood that. Like I understand that sentiment. That's why I feel like it's really
Who doesn't wish they were a little taller? Who doesn't wish they had better hair? Who wishes they weren't stronger? Everybody. Yeah. So it's like, it's like, that's why like it almost makes sense that we're going to end up in a virtual reality where you could just pick your avatar, and this is my avatar. And when you want to change it, you change it, wipe it clean, start over.
It's so sad that you would lose potentially the human emotion of love and passion and compassion.
It just like AI just isn't going to be. How do you really teach a non-biological thing what love is? Because love is a feeling, and it's like you can't, when you're in love.
But is that our ego saying that like this is this is not replicable, right? Or is it actually just a fucking formula in our brain through chemicals?
What's that
you
famous,
just like recreate
what's that movie that's the Devil Advocate, where he's like, love is chemically no different than eating large quantities of chocolate. I don't know how true that actually is
in terms of dopamine, but there are so many different processes with epinephrine and serotonin and endorphins. Like there are a lot of things happening at once, but probably in terms of dopamine, sure, right? Like gambling's probably the same thing, like gambling and sex and video games, right? But then we're isolated on dopamine. If we're talking about the whole thing, like love feels, right? Like it's in a league of its own. But who are we to say that that's not replicable in like a computer simulation, right? Because if I could feel the love that I've felt in the past, for some of my exes, especially like, or my dad, right? I would 100% like filter that into my avatar, because why wouldn't you? And then filter out all of the negative emotions that come with the day to day,
and just strive for some sort of utopian bliss,
which is
where you're just in your echo chamber that you created, where you're essentially God, and like, you don't have to. I don't like I don't like people who act like this, so they're not in my reality. I'm just, but
the ultimate echo chamber of just egocentric narcissism,
hedonism. Like,
God complex.
Doesn't it seem like people are becoming more narcissistic? And isolated. Like that seems to like as great as AI and all of this stuff is, it really just seems like it's just isolating people.
It is. But like we've determined, because there's not a marketplace for that unless
Are you going to put your phone down anymore?
Exactly.
Are you going to stop looking at Instagram? Are you going to stop hitting those dopamine hits all day long?
But it's like it's a pack mentality too, right? Because once we've all kind of collectively fallen trapped.
Do you think we'll see breakaway? Do you think we'll see like
it.
breakaway societies and breakaway civilizations becoming more and more of a thing, like hippie communes or like just like, hey, I don't want to be.
There are homeless communes around here, legit, like just like off the grid.
Yeah, but do you think you'll see people that are like band together to like? I mean, you see cults and stuff like that. Like, do you think there's anything like that that could exist where it's not super culty, where you don't have like some person manipulating everyone, or like his cults, right? They give him all their money, all their things to the one guy, and then he just gives it out as he deems.
Well, I think that's the issue is like no matter what the hierarchical structure of the society is, whether it's communism,
there's going to always be a hierarchical structure.
Yes. And so I think that's the problem. And like the cult leaders, right? The problem is the people that aspire for the power, the people that should have the power the least, if we're talking about distributing resources.
Usually.
Almost always. Yeah. Almost fucking always, dude. Like if you want power that badly, like think about what kind of human being you have to be. Inherently.
You're going to be more sociopathic. You're going to be more
cult leader-esque, grifter. Like you just like people that fall into those positions, right? Like I don't think Joe Rogan's a grifter. I think he just liked doing what he was doing and became very influential, right? I think if anything, he falls prey to grifters more than anything. But a lot of those guys, I feel like, maybe that appear on his show or that try to get into his orbit are like full blown, like trying to get this, just scraping and clawing to power. Not all of them, right? Like the Shane Gillis is the world, amazing. Theo Vaughn, incredible. Duncan Trussell, the man.
Well, that's what's so interesting about like somebody with a platform like Joe Rogan is he's got those like the comedians that have come up with him, the guys that he can just put on and like now you're instantly famous and you're successful because I mean he's got that much power where but he doesn't ever bring on not funny people. Like the comedians that he hangs out with are fucking funny. So it's like his taste is good, right? When it comes to comedy and when it comes to martial arts and he obviously but then you
had an awesome episode with Jared Cannonier recently.
Yeah, and then he also, does have a lot of these. I think maybe he just feels obligated to like show the world the other stuff, right? Because he has this platform.
Sure.
So that's like why he has like the Robert F. Kennedys on and the Dave Smiths and some of these contrarian people is because he just wants to put it out there because. Because he's pretty good about not like, hey, believe this because I believe it. He is generally, in my opinion, I think he just brings it to light and then kind of lets you decide a little bit,
Sure. I think sometimes he can be he can demonize the opposition a little bit. Like, oh, they're idiots. These retards are dumbasses, right? I think, he's a little quick to do that when he starts to, get a little emotional. But this is also the guy that, he believed in Bigfoot. For a long time. Like he likes to believe in fantastical ideas, which is fine, right? So I think he does like the contrarian perspective just because it's like, what if?
I mean,
it's fun. What if?
That's me.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm much more likely. Like, I don't think I believe in Bigfoot.
Nessie, Loch Ness monster.
When I was a kid, when I was a kid, and when I would
like last weekend, did you see that?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I for sure believed in the Loch Ness monster.
Okay.
Did you ever believe in the Loch Ness monster?
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, as a kid.
I mean, I probably did till I was like 29. No, like the Loch Ness monster never really made enough sense.
Sure.
Right. Bigfoot.
It's just like this sketchy fucking.
And the loch's huge, but it's
they've stabilized the Bigfoot footage.
Yeah.
Right. And it's just a dude walking in a costume. Like clearly.
Yeah. Like the holy grail of Bigfoot footage. And then obviously there's enough people out there spending resources. Like we would have something better. I mean, this is your logic for aliens, right?
Yeah.
It's just like we all have smartphones. I mean, that's Neil deGrasse Tyson, right? We all have smartphones in our pocket. Not one of us can get a clip of one of these motherfuckers that is good. You can spot a homeless person doing meth in a tent with your camera.
Yeah.
And like clearly they're doing meth.
Yeah.
But we can't.
There's just like a little piece of the tent open, and I got footage of the.
Yeah, because your phone works that well.
Yep.
You could zoom in.
Yeah. Just pulled it out of my pocket.
We can't find one solid piece of Bigfoot footage.
Yeah. And then I even go to the aliens, so I apologize, believers out
Yeah,
there.
I didn't go there because fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
Aliens are real.
I was
man.
like, you went back to Bigfoot.
I want aliens to be real. That's
I know
the fucking
you do.
problem.
I'm not gonna sit here and shit on your ideas, right? I don't want to shit on aliens. I just don't.
You know why I think the idea of aliens is alluring is because just today in our podcast, there's so many existential questions that we can't answer and so many societal problems that are just, you're never going to find a solution that fits for everybody. It's really just like, okay, what works the best in this situation for as many people? What keeps the masses? What's good for most people, right? And the idea of aliens existing, it's like, hey, how do we solve this? And they're like, oh, smart and all-knowing or something, you know?
Yeah.
They're almost godlike.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't they be? If you can travel the cosmos at will, like you're pretty close to God. I think that's the allure, is like, maybe they can answer some of my questions, or like, does my life have meaning? You know, what is my purpose?
You know, like my perspective like is wildly different than the believers, right? As a skeptic, but I would like aliens to be real for a different reason, because I feel like it's been a while, for like maybe never, right, that humanity's ever banded together for a thing, right? Like nations have, right? Oh, we're at war with them, like they're the bad guys now, right? Like, oh, we can't squabble amongst ourselves because
so if
that's
aliens
the
do
enemy.
exist, we kind of have to come together as like an Earth
And figure something out. Like we're not like, you know, Americans or Russians or Chinese. We're Earthlings, right? Because we now have to grapple with this threat, and we all have to like communicate with one another. Because if we're going to squabble with each other, then the aliens are going to win. Which is funny, because you would think we would have that fucking perspective here, like already when people are trying to divide
aliens,
us at the
they
top.
probably come down here, dude, and they go, they're just hold off a little bit. They're gonna destroy themselves, and then we can come in and
pilfer the resources.
yeah, like just we don't even have to
Eat their blood.
We don't have to like waste our energy. We'll just come back in a few millennia because we know time is no longer a constraint for us in biology. We've mastered AI, so like don't worry, they're done.
But if you think about what is the Great Barrier, the fucking
Fermi paradox.
Fermi paradox, right? Like, why haven't we seen anything? Like radio waves, any signs of life anywhere? Like, it's terrifying, because I was
starting to look more and more like we are a complete fucking anomaly, or
we're
just
bacteria.
We're the very, 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 very beginning, right?
Yeah.
Like, as the universe goes, like maybe we're the first thing that pops up, because there has to be the first thing, right?
For sure.
There had to be the first planet, whatever. Like maybe we're the first thing, and it's our duty to spread. Whether we, you know, like people sit like they like to argue that we came here via transpermia, but maybe we are the start, and we will spread ourselves through the cosmos via transpermia, even if we don't want to, right?
What his head said.
Keating?
Yeah.
Was that what his thing is?
Brian
like
Keating.
Because sometimes I'm like, should we
me,
allocate resources to like populate? And it's like, or is it just going to happen anyways?
Sure.
Like, there's just enough collisions happening in the solar system and universe to where, like, if biological life originated here, it's going to get other places eventually, right? Might take billions of years, but
you would think. The only the problem, I think, is, and I don't know enough about astrophysics or anything of that nature to really like speculate, but from what I understand, eventually there will be the heat death of the universe, because right now dark energy is accelerating, as far as we know and understand, faster than the speed of light. And so it's pulling galaxies apart.
Farther and farther apart.
Totally. And it's just going to continue to do so even faster and faster and faster. So galaxies are going to be like, you're not going to be able, I mean, you already can't travel to another galaxy with any.
But it's getting harder and harder by each passing minute.
Exactly. And the universe is getting darker and darker. And every
Aren't
star
there
that
like
dies.
mathematical theories, though, that are saying that it's possible that it goes like this, too?
The big crunch theory.
Like there's math that like supports it, right?
Maybe. I've heard the theory. I don't know if there's math to support it or not. But
I mean, there has to be some math to support it.
Yeah, I hear physicists talking about it, but like I don't know how
I think even
credible
Keating
it is.
talked about it.
He mentioned it, but I don't know. Like, yeah, again, know nothing of
there's
this stuff.
It's fun to think about, but it's also like I'm too dumb.
It's huge. Well, I mean, just think about, because like we think about scale, and it's just like, oh my God, 100 billion stars in our galaxy and 100 billion galaxies in the observable universe. That's a lot. That's huge. But what if it's not? What if there are 100 billion universes in a multiverse and 100 billion multiverses in like that? And it's just like the scale is already unfathomable. So why not just make it more unfathomable? Make it more fucking insane. Who gives a shit?
Well, I
fucking
think
why not?
That's what happens with math, though, right? Is like
Yeah.
you can kind of just it's infinity, right? You can kind of just keep going and going and going. Although I did see something with their like we really do have like smallest units of measurement.
Yeah,
so
the Planck
far.
length.
Like
Yeah.
we cannot get smaller than this, at least not
No,
yet.
per mathematics. According
Yeah,
to mathematics,
until,
the Planck length is as small as it gets.
Yeah, unless there's some new thing in mathematics that says we can go smaller.
That's where string theory comes in. So they speculate that the Planck length is where those strings are, and that's where in dimensions that can like separate like timelines, like a timeline where I do this and a timeline where I do this, right? And then every other one, right? Where I just like knock this off the thing, and then like I'm blue.
There's one where you rip your tongue out of your face.
Is one where I
You just reach in there and on camera, and then that's the end of our friendship.
And-
Just, like, wander off into the abyss.
bummer. But after we've made millions and millions of dollars,
Yeah.
and yeah, so you know that's where string theory comes into play, where any possibility is and has happened and will happen infinitely forever, right? Which is just insane to think about, because it's like, well, you know, logically it wouldn't make any sense, but it's like, what about in a universe where it does make sense? Because there are certain like dimensions of this.
No wonder why people just go to fucking worrying about like dumb shit, dude.
I'm just realizing what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's just
It
like
sounds insane.
yeah, it's like okay, like, what's the point of that? Like I can't do anything about it. I don't really understand it. So like I'm just gonna be mad at you because it's easier, you know.
I just realized how insane that is. I'm just like, yeah, I don't believe in aliens. And then if you go to this dimension, you're upside down. It's like,
Yeah, people are like, yeah, that's why I believe in aliens, man. That's too much. I stop at aliens. You went too far. I just get aliens and Bigfoot.
yeah, that's anxiety provoking. Like, just like, let's stick with the like aliens. It's like, maybe they're chill, maybe they're scary. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they have the answers.
Maybe we don't need to think about this.
Yeah, let's
Because,
let the aliens decide.
bro, that
If there's anything I know, letting other people decide things for you is sometimes better.
for sure. But the problem,
That's my new sports betting strategy.
dude, that's what. Yeah,
Like, who do you think's gonna win?
Yeah.
Sweet. And I just bet on them. And then if I lose, it's like, well, I didn't make that decision. My friend's an idiot.
But that, and that perspective is why cult leaders work, and why like
Just let him make my decisions.
Yeah. I trust him.
Yep.
So like I think I saw, and this isn't meant to come.
Well, that's not just cult leaders, right? That's not like the average American is probably so uninformed on like political shit, like policies in general.
Yeah.
And there's like, well, just let them, like, I think people are beginning to not be so trusting, right? I think COVID really, people are like, because no matter what happened during that, it was just like a shit show.
Yeah, you weren't winning.
You know, you're just like, what the, like, no matter what side you were on, it didn't feel good to be on that side.
I think the one side we can all agree on at this point, and I hope to God we can all agree on it, is that it was released from the laboratory that's in Wuhan, China, where the pandemic originated from. It came from the laboratory. They researched coronaviruses at that laboratory, right? Jon Stewart's gone on his rant about this, and I agree wholly and completely. And then, you know, someone got it on their shoe. I don't know, but it got out. One of their scientists died from it, was like one of the first patients, if not patient 0. And then it's here, but we don't know where it came from. Like, can we just please, at this juncture in 2023, just please
I think it was,
agree on that? It's not racist. If anything, it's racist that you're saying it's coming from a fucking bat market and they're eating dogs in China, you racists.
is that, yeah, no, I agree. You know, but the problem is we don't.
It's from the lab because they're smart.
That's not. Nobody actually cares where it came from.
Yeah.
That doesn't matter. Whether it was bat soup or it was, you know, carelessness in a laboratory somewhere, it doesn't, like, nobody cares. It got out. What I'm more mad about is like that you're not wearing your mask, or that I'm not wearing my mask, or that, like, that's the things we choose to like worry about, right? Because that's probably more important. But nobody cares about that. It's like I'm more mad at you because you're not in my camp of vaccination or
Totally.
not vaccinated.
Yeah. And I think, I feel like we should be past the polarization part of that.
Nah.
I just don't know why. Like, it's like, okay, it's over and done with.
You think these new mask mandates are going to stick? The ones that they're supposedly...
Is there a new mask mandate? Oh,
They're-
there's a new variant, right?
They're new variant, and
I
they're
saw that.
like...
Yeah.
I feel like it gets blown out of proportion. I feel like one politician someplace was like, do we need to bring back mandates? And then now that's the narrative. They're bringing back mandates. And it's like, no, fucking one person said, do we need to, or like, let's discuss it, you know, like, is that a thing that, and then now, oh, they're bringing them back. And it's like, everything's taken out of context so easily. I don't know, but I can't imagine people going for that again.
Well, in my bubble, I hadn't even heard of that. Like, and like, I try not to be in any particular bubble, but like, I could see how in certain bubbles, like, you're going to be apprised of that immediately.
There's still people walking around wearing masks.
I saw a girl with a mask in Walgreens. I thought, or not Walgreens, fucking Radio Shack, whatever the fuck the place was. Office Depot.
Radio Shack.
Yeah, I'm living.
We're in the 90s.
We might
Dude,
be.
do you remember Radio Shack?
I do.
It was a great store.
I loved it.
It was amazing. They had so much cool stuff. It was like Sharper Image.
Yeah, Sharper Image was
Well, because it was just
sick.
like technology.
Yeah.
And it was like, you know. And
recliners.
Yeah.
Dope recliners. I like
What's
Sharper
cooler than...
recliners and technology.
Dude, I remember sitting in a recliner at Radio Shack, driving around a remote control car. Like, probably 1998.
What?
We'd just gone to Blockbuster Video.
You know how there are traumatic memories? That's just like the one happy moment of your life is just the happiest moment. You're just like,
It was just like, I'm living in the future, man.
that's sick.
Yeah.
like
We got a
reverse trauma.
DVD. They had DVDs were coming out.
Nice.
Yeah. Remember DVDs?
I was born after that, so I don't relate to anything that you're saying right now.
I still have DVDs.
That's so depressing.
I have DVDs that I won't get rid of.
Bro, I had VHSs that I wouldn't get rid of until like a
just in
year
case
ago. Just in case.
Netflix goes down, I have something to watch. It's like, dude, if Netflix goes down, everything's gone down. Your Xbox probably isn't going to work, buddy. Where you can watch your DVDs on? Do you have a DVD player?
It's nuclear holocaust. Women's rights are out the window, and the savages are after you. Like,
Yeah.
you just better hide. Or like, get your guns. Or like, what do you do in apocalypse? Do you blast yourself? I blast myself.
As a single man, I would probably just gravitate to the few loved ones I have, and if they don't exist or I can't get to them, I just would try to find them. That's probably, dude. I like to think sometimes that I would just give up, but I'm not a giver-upper.
No, you would.
Yeah. I would do whatever I
You're
had
a
to do to survive,
scavenger.
and I
Yeah.
would attach purpose to it. Like, okay, I got to find somebody to help,
Yeah.
or I have to like, you know, like until I know that these like you have your loved ones. Like, let's try to find my loved ones, and until you confirm or deny their life being, if they're still alive, try to find them. If they're dead, then okay,
New
they're
purpose.
dead. Like, and just
Yeah.
move on and just
keep
trying to
finding
find
new purposes.
trying to find people. I think I would help. I would want to help, but again, you know, I'm pretty savvy.
Yeah. No, you would crush. Like you wouldn't be like.
I'm not a killer.
No,
but
dude, you would be necessary in the fucking in the apocalypse because there are going to be so many savages that are surviving on savagery. We would need the resourceful people that are able to like scavenge and be charismatic.
and I'm optimistic to a fault. Like, if anything, I'm like toxically optimistic. Like, I'm just like.
Well, I guess that's where my concern would be. Is like I feel like you could.
But
you're-
again, I don't
You're
know.
so charismatic, it wouldn't even matter. You could get drawn into a den of lions, bro, and you would like come out like the king of them.
I mean,
You could figure it out.
yeah, I don't want to know. I also don't want to know like what I would do. You know, none of us know what kind of people will become in those situations. You know, are you going to become like, you know, you don't think you can kill, but what happens when it's your life or theirs?
Right.
You don't know. You're not like, I'm not going to just lay down,
Yeah.
especially if like I've found a purpose or I'm trying to protect somebody. You know, if you have kids and stuff, obviously that equation's way different. You know, like it's just generally speaking, me. You know, I'd care about you. I'd care about my family, but my circle's pretty small, so
Yeah, I don't allow squares in my circle.
can't.
You know?
No squares.
Nah.
They're too cool.
Yeah.
Squares are circles cooler than squares?
Dude, squares are squares, bro.
Yeah, squares. Fine.
Nah, it's square.
I like ovals.
Oh, dude, what's up with the oval team, bro?
Are
Why don't
ovals
I call
just
it
trying to
round?
be circle and they're not?
I don't know, man.
Are they like fake?
Like,
Are they circles trying to like differentiate themselves, or are they not circles and they're trying to like get in the circle?
it's a good question.
Like an oval,
Yeah.
you know. And oval is like, and there's like, it's a spectrum, right? 'Cause some ovals are like, fuck,
Yeah.
you could have a
Oblong bullshit.
really, really long
Yeah.
oval, but you could have one that's like looks exactly like a circle, but like you do his measurements, you're like,
Totally. And that's why, that's why I think we need to bring back institutionalization. Yeah.
yeah.
So,
So people like me can't rant about.
yeah, as soon as you start like,
Dude, for
talking
all
about
I know,
ovals-
dude, I'm in a fucking institution. They've existed this whole time. I'm in one.
I like
in a padded room. I've made this all up. It's all a construct of mine.
To the viewers out there, the 3 people that are like listening to this,
I think we have 5 by now.
the 3 old men that are just like vigorously masturbating to our voices.
Nah.
I always like to.
I've heard my voice played back to me. Nobody's attracted to
doing
that.
No.
Like I've heard good voices. Like I know a good voice.
There's a
Like,
mark.
I'm probably self-critical, but like I know when I hear a good voice, I go, that's a good voice. Have you ever like talked to a woman
dude-
on the phone for the first time and been like turned off or turned on?
We were talking about this earlier. Yeah.
Like you ever like called a woman for the first time
And you're just like, oh yeah,
and you're like, ooh, I like your voice. Then sometimes you're like, oh man,
yeah.
I've had that happen.
Oh, and
I'm that shallow where I'm like, her voice wasn't good on the phone.
yeah, my last girlfriend.
Bad voice phone.
Just bad voice in general. Just the worst voice. Very masculine.
Did it bug you?
I hated
Is that why you broke up with her?
Fucking hated it. Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was me that ended it. Yeah.
Have you ever broke up with a girl?
Put me on the spot like that?
Have you ever like
Yeah.
like
But I didn't
you,
want
you
to.
were the one that ended it and you were very like I'm ending this. I feel like I've broken up. Like I've
There was one.
I feel like I usually give them the out.
The one that I lived with.
Like let them think it's their decision even though maybe it was my decision.
Mine was the opposite. Mine was like I ended it, but I didn't want to end it. And then she was like, "All right." I was like, "Are you sure?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh fuck."
I watched the
Fuck
Seinfeld the
myself.
other day where everything works out for Jerry episode where he's just like Elaine throws $20 out the window. A little while later, he's like finds 20 in his pocket. He's like everything evens out, and the lady's like, "I think we should break up." And he's like, "Yeah, all right."
Yeah.
She goes, "Really?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's been
Whatever
great dating
works
you
out.
for a while.
Yeah.
Good luck on your journey." He pays for lunch, and he starts whistling. She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes as he like walks out. It's so good.
That's a good like sort of mentality to live by, right? It's just like live and let live.
Okay.
And whatever happens, happens. Easier said than done, obviously, right? Because
God, breakups are so hard.
But
they very, very seldomly happen super amicably.
well, I was gonna say that's why like you wonder why I'm just so apprehensive about like getting into a relationship or really trying to pursue anything with anybody. It's like, have you ever broken up with anyone? And I can't even say like yes, definitively. It's like I know if I get into a relationship based on all of my history, like 100% batting average, almost maybe the one. But even then, I didn't really want to break up. 100% batting average, I know for a fact I'm going to end up in pieces. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like when you've got that kind of consistent record, bro, like it's a shitty record, but it's consistent. Like I just like I have no interest in pursuing that like inevitable fucking heartbreak.
Do you feel like
Yeah, let's turn this into a therapy session. Let's
has
go, baby.
each heartbreak gotten easier, or was it like
Fuck no.
did they each got if it got harder and harder?
Oh man.
Like has each one, or does it just vary? Like some relationships, like
It
the
varies.
heartbreak, yeah.
Yeah, but like I don't handle rejection well in general. Like with anything, right? Like that's why I prepare as much as I do. Like with anything that I do, because I want to make sure that I am going to succeed at this thing, right? And if I put myself in a position where I can fail, then I already have. You know, I have that self-defeatist mentality. But if I prepare and I know for a fact I've prepared so diligently that I will not fail, then why not? Like why? And so but then again, you miss out on the fucking amazing opportunities that come from failure and like understanding that like, you know, we're fallible.
That's where growth happens.
Yeah,
right? Like,
100%. But growth can also happen through preparedness, right?
but your
Maybe not.
propensity for preparedness probably comes through
My
tribulations
failures.
and trials,
Yes,
right?
that's a good point. That's a great point.
Like you're like, well, everything just always worked out. Why would you prepare?
Failure breeds success and growth. Yeah. I think
Right?
you're
And it just how you've learned to overcome heartache is by being more prepared, right? And anytime you've like something happened and you failed objectively, you've like, okay, well, if I prepare better, I'll have less chances of failing.
Exactly.
I think most people do that.
And there are just so many variables with a relationship that you can't prepare, right? It's chaos, which is fine, right? Like, I mean, there's because you're incorporating an entire another human being. So how much can you prepare when there's an entirely different variable that's 50% of the equation?
Is I think my sort of mindset in relationships now is just lowered expectations. right? Just
Sadly.
because
Yeah,
it's sad, but also kind of liberating because
oh, I bet it's beautiful.
well, because dude, when you put so much because
Yeah.
dude, I'm fucking such a hopeless romantic where I've met women, gone on one date, and haven't even been on a date, just met them, and like then I start fantasizing about like, oh, what's our life gonna be like together? What are we gonna? What's our wedding gonna be like?
I do the same
you know,
thing.
and
Yeah.
then like I create these delusional versions of them because I don't even know them. I haven't spent any actual time with them. I don't even know what their political views are. I don't know what their religious beliefs are. I don't know if they fucking snore or not.
It can be liberating, right? To
Yeah, well, because I've
lower
always
your
just had such high expectations. It's like I've always been like, I got to find the one and marry her and have kids and have a life and build this thing with this partner. And if I don't have that, my life is, I'm a failure, right? I've attached so much of my success to being internally, right? The way I perceive myself. Like, I'm a failure unless X, Y, and Z. And part of that equation in my head for so long is like, you have to be with a beautiful woman who loves you and be married and have kids. And that doesn't actually mean you're successful. I know a lot of idiots who are in really bad spots in life who are married and have kids, and they're miserable. I have friends who are married and have kids are super smart and crushing their dreams too. So that's not a defining metric of success. Like anybody can. You have reproductive organs. I have reproductive organs. We can reproduce. Like it doesn't matter whether or not. There's. You don't have to be successful to reproduce.
and everybody's definition of success is just going to be a little bit different than
Right.
the next person's, right?
And the older I get, the more I'm like realizing that like, hey, your self-worth comes from so many things. And like maybe that's still part of it. Maybe like I still want to have a relationship and be loved and validated by a partner. But also like there's financial successes, there's creative endeavors, successes, whatever comes of this, whatever, I don't care if
There's personal growth, right?
Yeah,
It's
there's
like,
something.
I went on a diet for a month and I lost 10 pounds. That's
and this podcast is silly
success.
and we're reaching for the stars and it's awesome, but it feels good to like have a reason for today. Like today had a reason and a meaning and we did it. And, we had fun. We had to procure SD cards and navigate working cameras and all these technical issues, and it's fun.
Yeah.
And then I get to sit down with my friend and bullshit about past relationships and the meaning of life.
Do
and
the
string
same shit
theory.
we do all the time anyway.
Already doing
May
it.
as well record it.
Yeah, just for fun, because we can for posterity. Why not?
For posterity.
Posterity? What I say? Posterity?
No, right on. No, you said posterity. I was just repeating
okay.
because it was.
I use words incorrectly sometimes.
No, you crushed that one. You use that word more often than I've ever used it, and I love it. It's
Posterity. It's a good word.
Such a good
I
word.
remember the first time I heard that word and where I was.
Okay.
I was at a diner and I heard some guy say posterity and I had no idea what it meant. And this was before the advent of smartphones. And I had to go home and look it up in an encyclopedia.
Nice.
Heard that word and didn't know what that word was. And I was just sitting, I was a little kid, probably 10, just sitting, listening to two old men bullshit at a diner. That's probably why I like diners.
Yeah. Sounds like you have like some fond memories in there.
Just listening to like old men talk, because that's what diners are full of, just old men bullshitting, right? Like they're just doing this,
Yeah, I was like,
but they're older. Yeah,
I was like old men bullshitting.
well,
right now.
yeah, I was 10, and they're these men in their 50s and 60s, and I heard one of the men say the word posterity. I'm like, I don't know what that word is.
Yeah.
Never heard it. Like was listening for context, couldn't figure it out. Went home, looked it up. Oh, okay, now I know what that word is.
There was a comic. It's called Something for Posterity, I think. I remember I used to see it in the newspaper. We're old men, buddy.
Yeah. I know.
And I was like looking at, I remember I never knew what it meant and I never cared to look it up or like in the encyclopedia.
Remember when you used to watch porn and you're like, ooh, she's a MILF. She's like 30.
Yeah, dude. They still do that. I'll laugh at some of these porns that have like a 25-year-old, but they're like, she's a MILF. And I'm like, what? But like they make it like, I don't know. And then you'll see another video, like the next one, she's a teen. It's like, what? The inconsistency is why I can't watch porn. It's ridiculous.
I don't know why I'm on porn today so much.
I don't know. You got to get laid. So, yeah, how's the love life, man? How's the wife? Dude, I was thinking about NPCs, man. Like, are they... I feel like they stay together longer, right? Just the people that are just like, okay, like there's no deeper meaning. Like, why would you ever talk about existence? Why would you talk about quantum physics or astrophysics or any of this behavioral science stuff.
Doesn't pertain to what I need now.
The human consciousness. Because all I need to do is wake up. I need to drink my coffee. I need to kiss my, wife or husband goodbye, and then go off to work. And then I work the full day, and my boss is that scoundrel. And then I come home, and then I pick up the kids, and then
I watch sports.
And then
maybe I think those people still have hobbies and they still do fun things. They just don't have the philosophical mind. They just don't care to why do I like the things that I like?
Sure.
I just like them.
Yeah.
God, that's probably really nice.
That feels like, I'll bet it's the best. It goes back to it goes back to your talking about with the women and being able to be complacent a little bit, because complacency sounds bad until you do it, and you're just ignorance truly
all of
is
us suffer
bliss.
from complacency, man. It's complacency. You can't. You got to be a little complacent, or you're just going to be an anxious mess, right?
Yeah.
You're just you're gonna be manic all the time if you're just I gotta do more, I gotta do more podcasts, I gotta read more books, I gotta eat healthier. Sometimes just eat ice cream, sit on the couch, and watch Family Guy. It's okay, laugh. It's funny.
I don't do that enough. But it's I think
you probably feel guilty. I know I do. I do it, and it's I do it too much, right?
Yeah.
I think we've been over our favorite sins. Sloth is. It's up there. I like lazy. I like chilling. It's just we all need mental health days, but when is too many? When are you having too many mental health days?
Right.
When has this been a mental health month? Mental health year? We all have those too, right? You're a lot we go through transformative years and confusion and down years, good years, bad years. It's just I think you just have to be a little bit self-aware.
Yeah, but I feel
and some people just do
success is defined differently by
it's weird because you're very introverted, but you're not lazy. You're not just doing nothing, right? You're inside, but you're either for the longest time you were in school. Now the podcast, obviously, this whole endeavor is keeping you occupied. Because why would you let your mind go to waste? Because that's what it feels like.
Well, the thing is too, is some people work out their minds all the time, and some people are always studying. Some people, but they don't work out their bodies. I actually appreciate Joe Rogan. He always talks about physical fitness, and a lot of people. Just trying to make sure all the cameras are still on. A lot of the people get upset with him that that he's body shaming, but we should all strive to be healthier physically as well as mentally and emotionally. Why wouldn't
it's anecdotal for me, but there's science behind it. The more optimally your body's operating, the better your mind is working.
Yeah.
Right? If you're putting bad things into your body and you're stationary and you're sleeping all the time, you're not going to be thinking that clearly. And it's necessary, and
it catches up to you, right? We're all gonna age, right? And
I was feeling it yesterday. I got a massage. It was one of the best massages I ever had, and it's really. I don't ever ask them to work on my legs because it doesn't feel as good as it does. But I'm I know I need this. My legs are tight because I sit so much playing poker, and I'm active, but dude, I don't stretch. I don't work my legs out near enough, and now I'm feeling it, and I'm trying to repair years of neglect, and I really can't. And it's just all right, let's just make sure it doesn't get any worse now.
I like working out. I hate it, but I like it because it keeps me feeling like I'm doing something, right? Even I won't.
Is it false productivity? Maybe but
kinda. Honestly,
it makes the
cardio is probably the best for you, but
you get cardio with lifting weights. I typically lift fast. I try to keep my heart rate up while I'm lifting.
Yeah.
I want to do more cardio because cardio feels good. But
and you ever go a few days without working out? You feel worse, right?
Dude, I was feeling terrible on Monday. I was why am I feeling so? I just could not get going. I haven't been to the gym. Tuesday I go to the gym. I felt great. I didn't go yesterday, but I went pretty hard the day before, and then I went today. I think a little tired, but I feel better. It's for me, a lot of it is just I like to go to the gym right when I wake up, and it's okay, if I'm making a few good decisions to start the day, it'll incentivize me to make better decisions throughout the day. I've had days where I'm eating cinnamon rolls and chocolate milk for breakfast, or I just ate 4 bowls of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. and I don't go to the gym. And then when it comes time for dinner, I'm like, I could cook something healthy. I'm like, I already haven't done anything. Like, let's just continue this piece of shit day. And just, I mean, I talk to my internal monologue isn't good.
Is it pretty Is it like the Cynic? You're just idealist outwardly, or what? What is this?
No, it's just like, I'm always like, you idiot, you piece of shit. I talk to myself
I do the same
so
thing,
bad.
bro. Yeah.
Dude, a lot, like many women I've dated have heard me talk to myself and they're like, don't talk to yourself that way. And I'm like, I don't know any other way, you know? But I also talk to myself. I'm like, hell yeah. Like when I do good, I go, dude, you crushed that. Hell yeah. Good job, buddy. Like you're doing good.
Do the same thing.
Yeah. But then I'm like, yeah.
But I think that's conducive to growth, right?
Like when I don't go to the gym and I have like 2 days of just like sloth and lethargy, like my internal monologue is like, you piece of shit. Like, you can't even get to the gym. Like, what excuse do you have? You don't have one. You know you don't. And you're just like, oh, because you're tired? Because the girl didn't text you back? The hot chick didn't text you, so now you're sad because your self-worth is attached to others' fucking opinions of you? Are you sad, you little sad boy? You sad? You go play your guitar in the corner like a little sad boy? Like, that's like... That's like what goes on in my head.
I just don't want to laugh in the mic because I was just like, this is gold. This is gold. This is gold. That's funny. I'm doing the face too.
Yeah, dude, I can't like. It's sad, but then I go to the gym and I feel great.
Yeah,
and I'm like, dude, hell yeah, you get a little pump on, you feel good.
See, but that's the thing is like it's the failure that brought you to the gym. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just do need that failure because I'll go a couple days. But for me, it's always...
Self-sabotage is weird. Yeah. Because I sabotage sometimes. And I think it's just like, keep myself in check. Like, hey, your ego's out of control. You went to the gym 9 days in a row? We gotta bring you back, buddy. You're too confident. You can't be that confident. The world won't be able to handle you.
That's the difference between the
turbulent... You're that happy? Ooh.
The turbulent personalities and the assertive personalities, right? Because the turbulent personalities are going to get you to a place where, you know, you're just like, you fucking scumbag, dirtbag piece of shit for brains. Like you're gonna really get down on yourself to the point where you're gonna force yourself. And then like the assertive personalities, like not all of them, right? But some of the narcissistic, you know, assertive personalities are gonna say like, what kind of improvement do I need to do anyway? Because I've already got it figured out. You know what I mean? It's just like, no, you don't have it figured out. You're convincing yourself that you have it figured out because you're scared to find out what is really there to figure out.
That's a weird thing, right? Because like most narcissistic people are like, well, I'm perfect anyways. Why do I need to? But then in the gym, you see a lot of narcissists like, you know, they have to like maintain this image of.
But it's the same fucking mentality where it's like, I feel inadequate on the inside, so you know, here I am on the outside, and maybe that's not always the case because there are assertive people that are just assertive, but some of that is insecurity, right? Like look at the biggest fucking strongest people, the most vascular people. That has to be driven by insecurity at some level for some of them.
When you're in the gym, are you like looking at others judgmentally?
I think maybe at one point. Nah, not anymore. Not for years.
Like not necessarily like bad. Like do you ever see like somebody who's like in really good shape and you're like, ooh, like does it ever like you like see them and you're like, man, they're in really good shape, and does it ever make you like want to be better because you see them like, wow, this guy's really in shape, like I want to be more in shape?
The answer for that is fuck no. But I think it's because it's twofold. One of it is envy. That's my sin, right? That's my number one sin on of the 7. But the other one is, you know, I learned from a very young age that there was a plateau that I was going to reach, and without using some kind of like anabolic steroids or something,
I don't look at them like, oh, I want to, dude. When I see like really big guys, I'm like, that looks miserable. Like, it's mine.
But I mean, even just dudes with like big legs, right? Like I've worked out my legs,
dude. I get it
a lot, and
there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
right. But I guess I don't really see them as like, oh, I want their. I don't envy their bodies necessarily. I envy their discipline and their work ethic.
See, I don't, because I have that. Like I've always had that discipline.
That's what I'm asking.
Work ethic.
Because like I think
that's why I have the envy. I think is because I've always had that discipline and work ethic, and it's like it doesn't matter how fucking hard I try or how much I do. Like it's just never going to be good enough when they can just have like
don't have those natural genetics,
dude. That's what it is, right? It's just like they can just like take a week off and just be like. Still fucking...
Dude, we saw that crackhead today.
Dude,
he was in amazing shape.
This dude
he was doing like...
Could have...
Dude, if I ever got a video of anybody, that's what I wanted. He was like doing some sort of like crack guy workout, and I was like, "What is this guy doing?" I'm like, "Hold on, should I be doing that?" Like he
Bro,
was fucking
like-
ripped. I'm like, "Is that? Do I need to be on the street like, doing whatever he was doing?" Because that guy was jacked.
Yeah, we've seen I mean, you see the people on the street. I saw a yogi today who's doing things I couldn't. I've
His
never seen
diet's
a
better
yogi
than
do.
mine.
I've seen that guy like crushing that workout. Right. The
Dude,
dental hygiene. The dental hygiene isn't great out there.
No,
But like the lady smoking out of the meth pipe, gone. Like I was like, okay.
yeah, she had no teeth.
No. And then a couple of the people we saw walking down. I think that's like the first thing to go. I feel like
Yeah,
with meth especially.
that's like honestly, I look at people's teeth a lot. I'm attracted to like really nice smiles. I hate my smile, but whenever I look at like women with really attractive smiles, like that'll get me. And then also like, I think maybe because you can kind of tell a lot about a person by like their teeth, right? Like if you aren't missing teeth, doesn't mean you're like a bad person or a good person, but it means you've probably had a different life trajectory than some.
That's a good point, right? Because like, if somebody is missing a tooth, even if it's through unfortunate
I
circumstances,
mean, missing one tooth is whatever, but when they have no teeth, you're like, okay,
But even then, it's like if you're missing a tooth, it's either you're a hockey player or you don't have the money to
fix
fix it, right? So it's like a financial thing too, or you're a hockey player, like where you take pride in it. You know, I don't think Adam Ricci.
Yeah.
Avalanche.
Remember
Dude?
Adam Ricci?
Yeah, I don't think he didn't have a tooth because he didn't have the money. You know what I mean? He's just like, I'm a fucking hockey player, bro.
Or like he fixed it
Fuck
4
me.
times and it just kept getting knocked out, and it's like, I'll fix this when I retire.
Fair. I wonder what he looks like today if he's still got, like, still walking around with no tooth. But,
Badass.
yeah.
Hockey players are tough.
Bro, I wonder about like image a lot, right? Because, you know, we all dress and act the way that we want others to perceive us as, right? So it's like, what happens when, you know, you've got the dudes with like that are just always looking hard as fuck and acting hard as fuck? Like, that can't be healthy, right? Like, is that mental illness?
It's probably just chip on your shoulder. It's insecurity,
Trauma.
Like, also like, think if you're just in prison, right? If you're walking around like meek and scared, people are like, that's a meek fucking scared dude. He's going to be easy to punk and take his shit and make your bitch. But if you're walking around like, at least they know like, well, that dude will probably fight. Like he might not fight,
Yeah.
but his body posture and stuff says that he's capable of fighting or willing to fight. So then, you know, we're not in prison, so it's a little strange sometimes when people are just walking around like that. But some of those people have been, and sometimes their upbringing is much, much different than mine, to where they were growing up in a much more harsh reality where survival was hard.
That one time, so for the viewers that don't know at home, I was very briefly, as a day, not even a day, incarcerated with my buddy here.
Oh, you've been in jail?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, we weren't cellies, but I saw you.
yeah, we're scared.
We got street cred, bud.
We were like walking around all tough.
We got street cred.
No.
I got street cred.
I was actually in the pen for 2.5 years. So for anybody that didn't know, it was
You know,
wrongful conviction.
dude.
But
I've had my run-ins with the law, and that was the last one when we got arrested that day. And like, I knew we weren't going to be in there forever, but that was like eye-opening again.
It was.
I was like, I don't ever want to be in jail again for anything.
I don't think people understand, right? Like, because that was eye-opening for me as well. Because the fact that they just lie to you, and like you don't have
Dude,
the opportunity to
we-
actually get.
we are
they do everything in their power to keep you there.
Intelligent,
Everything.
educated, affluent men who have jobs and
had jobs at the time and were doing
money,
well at the
everything.
time. Yeah,
We were treated the exact same as everybody else,
it was crazy.
which is good.
Yeah.
And that's why it was eye-opening. But you just realize, like,
No, I'm glad I was treated the same way.
yeah, absolutely. Like, but like, because you'd be like, you know, it's like the guards, they hear everything. You know, it's like, hey, dude, like, I'm trying to get out of here. I didn't do this. Like, okay,
But
you're innocent. There's like everybody else is innocent.
It's just weird that they don't let you bail yourself out.
can't bail. Well, I've heard some theories on why you can't.
It makes sense. Right? You
Because
just bail yourself out and then you just go out and do crazy shit.
it's not just that. It's also like the more conspiratorial thing is prison is for profit. There are
100%.
for-profit prisons, and even the jail in Denver gets if you're in there for a full day, you get $100 stipend, right? But if we're only in there for 8 hours, they don't get the $100. So they want to keep you in for at least 24 hours.
Wow.
So they get that $100.
Who's they?
I think that's a private prison. Like it's a private jail. It's a city jail, but it's like they're privatized. And even if they're not privatized, they're still getting those stipends, right? And so the they is just the city, but the city like, well, we need that $100 coming from whatever program this is. Like
There are so many irrational things happening in society. It's just like,
and again, that's like the more conspiratorial, but like I did some research and that's true. That does happen. And
Yeah.
there are for-profit prisons,
Yes.
just like there are for-profit medical institutions.
yeah,
Which makes sense, right?
no.
Well, okay. Well, here's the thing: it's like
No, it
the
doesn't.
prisons don't make any sense.
Yeah.
The medical institutions do, but you should also have
Why would why would that make sense for a medical institution?
to be driven by profit.
Yeah.
Like just for specialists and like. I think that's the argument.
No,
right? That's the argument
right.
with like free healthcare, right? It's like, well, if we have free healthcare, it's going to suck. And it's like we should have free healthcare so everybody's basic needs are met, right? So like when you get sick, you can get treatment, and then if you have more money, or your employer wants to provide a better treatment options than those, like we just need at least something for everybody, so we don't just like so when you're sick and you need antibiotics, you can go get your antibiotics to get better.
Because where does the profit go for the medical facilities?
What do you mean?
No, like I'm saying, like so. Say a medical facility is making a profit. There's
It goes to CEOs.
That's what I'm saying. Because if you just fund the medical facility adequately enough, then the doctors are getting paid just as much as they're going to get paid at the for-profit. The only difference between the for-profit institution is that the CEOs and the executives and the shareholders get a ton of money.
Exactly.
Off of the backs of the sick. It's fucking sick.
Well,
it's crazy.
Like those are like the really big ones, right? But then you have like your smaller, practitioners that have just like a doctor's office somewhere where they're not taking in medical emergencies, but your day-to-day stuff, and then it's just, but dude, even those guys get corrupted because you have like a pharmaceutical company come in and go, hey, like why don't you start prescribing this drug and then we'll give you this money.
The fact that not
You give everybody opioids and we give you a bunch of money, dude, and it's like they're happy because they don't fucking hurt and they can't think, and you're rich, dude, and then I'm fucking rich. It's like that's why we have an opioid problem.
And you got the Sacklers still walking around with monocles and their fucking top hats. It's so gnarly because, like, we just have this, like, two-tier justice system. Like, we should have those fuckers drawn and quartered for what they've done to this country. And I think everybody can agree on that. That's what's so nuts. It's like you poll 100 people, 50 Democrat, 50 Republican, or like 33, and 34 independents, and they're all going to say the same thing. Like,
how did we let that slide?
Yeah. Pour gasoline on those people and light them aflame.
Because they were giving a bunch of money to a bunch of important people, and then when they got, when they eventually get in trouble, I made $100 billion. Well, you're gonna give 10 of it back. Okay.
Yeah, because the legislators don't care. All they know is that they just got $10 billion. Neat.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
Justice has prevailed.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah. My campaign can go on.
Yeah.
I can continue to find more people to defend who don't need defending.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they line my pockets and
because they got
perpetuate
money.
my agenda, and I have an ego, and I want to get to the top of whatever hierarchy I'm playing.
And that's why it boggles my mind that we can't come to some consensus like here in like the lower echelons of society. Because even if you're making $200,000 a year, like news flash, buddy, like you are in the lower echelon if you look at the 0.1% and the people that really run shit at the elite level.
Well, because people that make $200K a year don't give a shit.
Right.
Because your life's really fucking good.
Yeah.
Still.
And that's the goal.
Yeah. And it's like your life's good and you can take care of your family, and then the really poor people are like, yeah, that sucks, but like, I got mine. You're like, those rich people are hoarding all the resources. Like, yeah, but they give me enough to keep me from complaining.
I don't know, man. I feel like it would be a lot easier for society to implement the change that we seek, right? Like if you hate
How do you do it though? How do you like?
It starts here. We
Well,
need
'cause
you guys to pull your
you see-
money and resources and put them our way so that we can then corrupt the legislators to fight on your behalf, which we will certainly do because power corrupts
That's
most
the problem,
people, but
right?
it doesn't corrupt
and then
us.
When you get actual like activism, like you get like Occupy Wall Street, like that was a disaster, right? It was like
haphazard.
it was
Chaotic.
chaotic. It wasn't well organized. It didn't actually accomplish anything. There was no reform.
No, it raised awareness for a second. And then like even with the Black Lives Matter movement, you saw there are always fucking hierarchies that appear out of these like movements that start with good intentions. And well, regardless of how you feel about Black Lives Matter, what happened at the end was the people at the top were taking the millions of dollars that were donated to them and buying mansions for themselves, for the organization, but it was for themselves. And they were buying designer clothes and purses. And it's like, it doesn't matter what your intention is. Like even Occupy Wall Street, it was a headless entity. Like that's why they could never organize. But the problem is once you organize, well, who's organizing? Who's at the top? And they're usually going to be fucking corruptible
people that rise to the top are going to be the ones that are just likely to be corrupt. That
But
power,
right.
money.
But the beauty is once you start to organize, like if you look at this organized labor movement with unions, what tends to work the best is like a group of people that are kind of in it together, right? Which theoretically is the country. And then you have a democracy because these union leaders are democratically elected. I'm going to represent you. The last guy didn't. And then the UPS, the new like UPS president comes in, he says, I will represent you. And then he does. And now they're making a lot more money and have a lot more benefits than they did previously. And it's a democratically elected system. So of all the systems that we have, like, I think, like, what was it? Was it Winston?
Dude, did you
Winston
see the,
Churchill?
did you
I
see
think
the
Winston,
interaction between the Amazon driver and the UPS driver in the mailroom today?
was that like antagonistic? It felt like
Well, they were just like
they were gonna.
they were just trying to recruit him. They were like, it's not too late to join the dark side.
That's funny.
But like, why would you work for Amazon when you could work for UPS, essentially doing the same job? You're going to be working a lot more, and you have oversight, and you're, a lot more.
Bezos is a fucking slave driver.
Yeah,
right?
but at least you've got a union that's going to protect you and like fight for your rights. Like
Amazon's trying to unionize. Everybody's
well,
trying
they have to.
unionize.
I mean, but
It's funny watching.
unions are they're necessary.
Bro, they were so demonized for so long.
Why?
Because it hurt the fucking bottom line of the dudes that were running shit.
Right, and so they just spun the narrative.
Propaganda, yeah.
These unions are terrible for America. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like the trickle down economics theory, right? Like, no, let us control all of the resources, and then it'll trickle down to you guys. We'll make sure it trickles down.
Trust us.
Trust me.
It's so wild that like people actually do, and they're just like, okay, it will, and it's like, okay, we have.
Well, for the longest time, dude, there was Americana. There was like patriotism. We got through wars.
Yeah.
And like we banded together and we felt patriotic and we felt cohesive and our leaders seemed to be good and we trusted them and a lot of them were good, but look at JFK.
Did they seem to be good, or were they just? Was it the perspective of looking at them through the lens of this like?
They probably
patriotism?
weren't that good.
Like George Bush, bro. That was one of the most like wild. Like George W. That was one of the most wild approval ratings of all time. Dude was like 90%, like just crushing, like Tom Hanks, bro.
Because he was like a farm boy.
Yeah, like Beyonce never reached those levels. Like, and he, was. Just this like dumb president who just inherited this country, like trying to heal from this catastrophe. And then, what he goes and does is he attacks the wrong country and is like mission accomplished. But at the time, because we were so blinded by our patriotism, we couldn't see clearly. And we ended up getting this 20-year skirmish. And I think we need to be able to like step back from our emotions sometimes and just like evaluate, like, does this make sense? Anything, right? And
but then you have to look at your own self and like, do I make sense?
And I know I talk a lot of shit about Republicans, so let me just really quickly clear it up. Like, I think Barack Obama did absolutely nothing to to heal the country at all, or to bridge the wealth divide, or to do anything to rein in corporate power or help the everyman. You can point to the Affordable Care Act. He did jack shit. And then I don't advocate for communist communism or anything either, because the hierarchies arise from the communists, right? And then some people are more equal than others. And so, yeah, I'm coming at a place of very chaotic neutrality. So just to throw that out there.
I liked Bush.
W?
Yeah.
He was an everyman. A lot of people
Dude.
like the dude that they can have a beer with.
That was literally, dude. I remember thinking that in my brain. I'm like, yeah, I drink a beer with that guy. That's, you know, it's sort of like the Trump appeal. Like, he doesn't seem any more intelligent than me. He can do it. I could do it.
Bro, even Clinton and Obama, right? It's like, and people didn't see that in Hillary. Like that was the liberal version of it. Is like, oh my God, like I could hang out with this guy and he would just like be so smart. He'd be the smartest guy in the room and he'd be playing sax and he'd be so cool. Yeah. But that's the liberal version of that, right? Whereas like W and Trump is just the everyman. It's just like sometimes a racial slur drops, like whatever, we're all thinking it, kind of. Yeah. Sometimes, you know?
It's bad, yeah. But you're right. Like Obama's the cool guy at the party that like you could pass the joint to and he'll take the joint, you know, like then maybe, you know, Bill Clinton, same thing. Like I'll grab the joint and then maybe I won't hit it, but I'll pass it along for you.
Yeah. I'm not going to judge you for smoking. Yeah.
I'll go play my saxophone.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm high, maybe I'm not.
Yeah. I'm hooking up with the ladies. I got like, you hear about the Obama being gay thing?
Yeah. I mean, you know, looking at his mannerisms, he's a pretty flamboyant guy.
Yeah. And like,
who there was like, I mean, I saw into like, it was really not a reputable argument. It was just some love letters that he wrote that like,
but it was the biographer. It was his own biographer that found the letters. Like,
right. But they were written to a woman.
Oh yeah. But it was like literally talking about how he wants to sleep with guys. Do your thing, right? Like no judgment, but feels kind of damning. I mean, he wrote it.
Yeah, I don't know the whole context though. I was just like, he was just writing. He was just spewing off to some chick he loved. Is what it sounded like. He was also talking about like, dudes are hot.
Yeah, and I think he was trying too hard to be like super poetic. Yeah, because I read or heard that and I was like, what is this? Who speaks like?
It sounds like a 20-year-old who was in college having crazy thoughts.
See, but that's the thing.
Questioning his own sexuality.
When people like have these
do you remember being
periods, 20? Right? When people have these periods of being weird, right? Like wearing Jenko jeans or fucking, and maybe that the Jenko jeans of today is like a trans issue,
right?
Maybe we just say, let them do that.
I absolutely think it is, right? Like for us growing up, you only had so many options when you felt different than the norm, whatever the norm was, the jock, the dork, whatever. You didn't fit into one of these categories. Like your other ones were like gothic.
Sure.
You know, your Jinko jeans, maybe skateboarding, you know, some like
the Magic the Gathering kids.
Yeah, there wasn't that many options, right? Sure. As where now there's going to be some group will take you in, right? And so are as many people that think they're trans growing up actually trans? I don't know. Maybe. But I also remember like adolescence is fucking weird.
It's so weird.
I mean, I did weird shit. I had dyed hair.
I did too.
Fucking me and Graham, dude. We used to like bleach our hair. Like, dude, we would spend hours doing this, bro. And our parents just let us. Good on you. But like, we would just like, they would buy us bleach. We'd bleach our hair blonde. And then we would put whatever colors in it we like deemed, like orange and red. And then we would do that weird, like, people don't remember. It was cool when I was a kid to have no hair anywhere but the front. Like, remember that? It was just like you like flip it up. Do you remember that? Or spike it up?
I do.
It was completely buzzed, and then you would spike it. And mine would be blonde, and it would be like red, and that was like my rebellious phase, right?
Yeah.
And that was like, no, nobody gets me. Stepdad doesn't get me. Mom doesn't get me. Dad definitely doesn't get me. Nobody gets me, dude, but Graham got me. He got me. We dye our hair. I get you, dude, bro. Like feels, right? Because that's all that they're doing, right? Like you're seeing that now. It's just it looks a little different, but people are just, I see you, right?
Yeah.
Hey, you don't feel normal. You don't fit in because your hormones are going fucking nuts. I see you, you know? And like some people see that as a threat. Oh God. You know, they're gonna turn our kids gay. The Barbie movie's turning our kids gay.
It's adolescents, everybody.
Like, dude, they're just like idiots. They're idiots.
They're stupid.
They're stupid.
Yeah.
Their brains aren't fully formed. And Like,
kids are stupid. Every kid is stupid. I have this argument with my dad all the time. Or no, my dad and I agree, and we'll speak with more empathetic women who are like, babies aren't stupid. No, they're very stupid. Every baby's stupid. There's not a single baby that's not stupid, and it's nothing against the babies. You can be a smart baby relative to another baby, but if you're a baby, you're stupid because you don't know anything and
You're learning.
intellectually like incapable of figuring shit out.
A baby can't drive a car.
No, because it's stupid, and it's fine. It won't be eventually. Hopefully, if you figure that baby out, but like, don't inflict too much trauma on it. It'll drive a car one day.
And I think like the argument that people like to make is like, well, let's make sure these kids aren't, because that's like the whole, don't let the kids get sex changes. I agree. Probably don't let 14-year-olds who are going through hormonal changes make life decisions that are irreversible.
Yeah.
Like let's delay that process. Don't make them invalid. You don't have to invalidate them. You don't have to tell them they're wrong for feeling the way that they feel. Just let them know that like, hey, we all went through things like this. Like mine looked a lot different than yours. I was dyeing my hair in a bathtub with my best friend. You have the internet now, and you think that maybe you want to have a sex change, and that's fine. And if you still feel that way, you were, and you can identify as a different sex or a different gender or whatever you want for now, but let's just, we're going to just make sure you don't do anything that you can't replace. And
we have this arbitrary limit of 18 because you can't really make it a gradient for each individual person. But yeah, when you turn 18, then, and I get it, like for the people that are truly locked in the wrong body, I feel for you, but because there are so many people that aren't locked in their body, we have to create this rule where you aren't allowed to do that. I'm so sorry. Just hold out. It's going to get better.
Yes.
Just 18, we'll do it. But like, just wait until 18, please.
That's it.
I know that's hard, but like, it's to protect the greater youth.
Yeah.
It just is because everybody's going through weird shit right now. Atmosphere is weird. I didn't realize why for the longest time like comets broke up in the atmosphere.
I hope that like nobody sees what happened in between. It goes from like, hey, we have to protect our kids, and like the whole transgender thing and how validated you should be, and like being transgender is perfectly normal and fine and great. Just let's not make decisions. And then atmosphere is weird.
Comets are sweet. No, legitimately, like I had no. That's really funny. Yeah. And maybe you know what? I'm gonna do that.
Most likely, that's how the edit's gonna come out.
It probably will. Yeah, but it's fine. Like I kind of like that. It's just gonna be a constant like. When people are listening, like, oh, is it just gonna randomly change for no reason at all?
Little fear factor,
yeah. Keep you on the edge of your seat, right? Like that way, you're not just like, oh, there they go again, talking about fucking capitalism.
But no, it'd be fun because like we should just put like a beep edit, and then you're like, oh god, whenever you hear like a beep noise, like, you just do like a funny edit, like a offline edit.
It's just like a picture of us going like this,
and then something. Whoop, your left turn,
But just a really brief image of like just terror.
All right, left turn, atmosphere. What?
Yeah. I always thought it was really strange that like I was like, why do comets just break up? Like they're flying through space and then they just like.
Why our ozone and atmosphere is because it's dense.
It's just so air is stuff.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that as a kid. Because I thought the same.
Because space is a vacuum, right? That's what you always hear.
Because there's nothing in
it. It's nothing.
It's literally nothing.
Space there's something here floating.
There are
particles,
gases.
And,
oxygen, nitrogen, right? We don't see it, but it's there. That's why when you're like driving, a motorcycle or something like that, the wind drag pulls you back.
Would you ever do it? If you were going to change your name, what would you change it to?
Oh, put me on the spot like that. You know what? My egocentric, narcissistic mind, I like Adam.
Yeah.
That's just like...
I am Kyle.
Yeah.
Be weird to be anybody else.
I don't know. I don't know. You like strike me as like a Saquon.
Saquon?
Yeah. I feel.
I could be a Saquon.
Yeah.
I could be a Neo.
Don't say that. I met a guy.
You remember Neo?
Dude, I hope he watches this.
Dude, when he tried to steal my girlfriend, it was hilarious. Like, dude, I'm usually kind of protective and insecure.
Delusion's cool.
When that guy was trying to steal it, I was like, dude, take whatever you got over there, see what she says. I hope you I want to see if you can steal her away, because I was so confident that she came up to me and she goes, "That's a weird guy, and he smells." And Ashley's like the nicest person on the planet too. She's like a super sweetheart. Yeah, and she was just like, Because I remember, I think I mentioned, she's like, he likes me, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I think so. And she goes, ew. Like, I felt bad for Neo, but also Neo sucked.
I mean, that's the cool part about delusion.
What was his real name? I wonder what his real name was.
I thought I knew this at some point. I go, didn't I tell you?
Yeah, you're like, you found out his real name. It's like, because he chose Neo. That wasn't like,
I thought it was on his...
the universe didn't give him that name. He says that's the name the universe gave me. That's what he told me. I think he told me his real name. I don't remember what it was. I'm sure it was something terrible like Adam or something.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Gene.
Gene, oof.
Yeah, he looks like a gene.
Do you have, dude, Tara asked me this last night.
Damage the gene
Do
pool.
you, is there, what name, if you just hear the name, like incites some sort of fear response or like a traumatic response? Like, is there a name that if you just hear like an ex's name, will it just like make you go, ugh?
Yeah, my last.
Will it? Like if you just hear the name? Like if you
like
met somebody with that name, would you be like,
No. No, because I would try to separate, initially, right? It's that visceral, like...
yeah, like, but like if you hear the name, do you automatically have like a anger response? Is that the response? Like if they say that name, does it respond to you as like...
you know what? For the first
I got
year,
asked that and I was
but,
like,
nah, not
anymore. No, like,
Yeah.
like I don't even care if she sees it. Used to hear that. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
So much trauma associated with that. But now I look back.
It's
and
like
laugh.
funny. Yeah.
Dude. It's like do you ever like look at like part of your life? You're like, what were you thinking?
Yeah.
And in the moment, you are so just head over heels, like, because that's my problem, right? I become head over heels. Like, this person can do no wrong. They are perfect in my eyes, and they can do no wrong, even though everybody around you is going, this person's clinically insane. Like, no, we don't think she's like a bad, like that. This person's clinically insane. You need to remove yourself from the situation. Like, you guys are idiots. You just don't see what I see.
I've never seen you so deluded in my entire life.
Bro, that was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't even do when I got out of that.
The sex must have been so good, though. The sex must have been so fire for you to be so deluded.
Yeah, it wasn't even just that. Obviously, like, that's important to me, and that was good. But I was so lonely when she met me, dude. I was so fucking lonely.
You had a girlfriend.
I was so fucking lonely. I did not have a girlfriend.
You did.
No, not technically. Was she my girlfriend? I don't think we'd ever had like an exclusivity.
I think you said that was your girlfriend, and then the next weekend you're like, I have a new girlfriend. I was like, oh,
no, that's not how it happened. For the record,
weren't you dating that girl?
No,
yeah.
No,
experience.
no. That is not what happened. When I met the psychopath, I was in another state. We had a weekend together. I didn't see her for 4 months. And then when I got back, the other relationship ended.
Gotcha. There was some overlap, though. We'll say
there was a little bit of overlap, but it wasn't an exclusivity conversation had never been had.
Okay.
And I think until that, it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
That I can admit, but there was like I think
the sex,
the language. I'm just saying I didn't cheat per the language of like cheating.
Yeah.
Because like we weren't exclusive, we didn't have that talk. There was no like officiality. But
yeah, you didn't.
I know.
Have her sign the contract?
Exactly. she hadn't signed the contract yet.
Okay.
No. But I know inside it didn't feel. It felt like cheating.
Yeah.
So I think if it feels like cheating, it's cheating.
Probably.
And that's bad.
Yeah. But like at the end of the day,
that's the only instance I can think of.
The best part about humanity and like the human brain is that you can gaslight yourself into thinking that
it wasn't.
It's not cheating.
It wasn't cheating.
You didn't do anything wrong. Everything's okay. You're perfect.
That's not my.
It's okay.
That's one of my exes, right? Like, no, we broke up yesterday. Like, yeah, we've been together for 1.5 years and we broke up, and then you slept with somebody the same day we broke up. Well, we broke up, so it's not cheating. It's like I technically we did break up, or we like this isn't work, whatever. But the same day or the next day, that there should be some amount of time, right, to make sure was this a real breakup, because we've all been broken up before and then not broken up 2 days later. But
yeah, that's what happened to me in a couple relationships was we'd get in a fight, right? And like they had already had, like, this was one especially when I was really young, when I was like 20 years old. You know her. What she liked to do, and she did this a couple times, and this is where you need to have self-respect and dignity. but I already felt like I was dating up anyway. So I was like, okay.
That's the worst though, because you feel like you're dating up, so you just let them fucking do.
That goes back to your complacency thing, where it's like once you figure out like where you're at in the hierarchy, you're gonna feel more comfortable once you get with that person, because you're like, okay, this is just where I am. Whereas when you're dating up, it's just, you know. And so at the time, I like just realistically was probably dating up, and so she'd be like, so you don't hold any cards, right? Because you're just gonna come back like a weak little bitch. And so
You're gonna have to bleep his name every time I've said it.
No,
just I can say it. You have to bleep it out just because it's not nice.
fine.
Like I had him. So you were talking, and then I was like, "Oh, that's not nice." It's. I'm right, but like we do still have, I'm sure, some sort of mutual friend layover, and they're gonna know anyways. But like,
Do you think in her brain at all she's gonna give a hot
Not a
shit
flying
about any of this? No,
no.
It's just gonna.
I think
if
she's gonna be
anything,
like,
it's
"Ooh, he's
just-
talking about me."
Yeah, exactly. Like I knew he couldn't stop thinking about me. Just a narcissistic fucking brain. But yeah, no, that
poor
for-
thing.
That
Hope
for
she's doing great. I really do hope she's doing well.
she's not.
She could be.
No.
I think she will. Dude, my last girlfriend, like, she like looked up all my exes for some reason.
Yeah.
I think girls do that probably a lot. Would you ever look up like your previous? If you were dating a girl, would you care what her?
Nope.
Yeah.
It would just drive me nuts. I would just start like
Comparing yourself.
yeah.
And like,
I
am
don't.
I good or
Nope. Ignorance.
where
is
do I
bliss.
fit in? Yeah.
Not
Absolutely.
even thinking about that.
I kind of take the same road, and also like our relationship, and those got you to me. So glad you had them, but. You know, like, let's focus on this one. But she, like, looked up all mine, and she was asking me about each of them. And I was just like, it's a pretty psychotic thing to do. But anyway, she would ask me, she's like, what about this girlfriend? Who's this girlfriend? Like, I want to know all about them. And I'm like, why? But also, because you're gathering information to use against me, I'm sure. But I'll play the game, whatever. Like, I'll play along. And we had looked her up, and looks like I think she's just doing the same shit. I don't think it's gotten better or worse. I think it's just like, I go to this place. And then I do crazy shit for a couple years, and then I alienate everybody in that place, and I have to move to a different location. But I'm hot, so like men welcome me.
Well, this is the thing with narcissistic supply, is it lasts as long as you're hot.
Yep.
As soon as you lose your attractiveness, you either need to cling on to one like just poor soul,
Yeah.
or you're gonna lose your fucking mind, because the narcissists, when they don't
Do you think
grapple with
they
their-
ever have revelations in that point?
That's a good. I mean, there's a
Like,
spectrum of narcissists.
Yeah,
I
right.
assume.
But do you think there's people that are like borderline and narcissistic, and they're hot, and they get away with shit because they're hot, and like they can keep going from one guy to the next or one girl to the next?
I can't imagine it helps
And
by
then,
being hot.
and
right?
then all of a sudden that supply wears off, right? Like guys aren't falling for your shit anymore. They're not attracted to you. Juice isn't worth the squeeze anymore, right? Like it doesn't matter how good it is. Like, you know, or now
washed
like,
up, girl.
well, yeah, now
Yeah.
you're not as attractive. So like
washed up, honey.
dudes aren't going to just like let you take advantage of them,
Yeah.
because you can't, because part of the spell is like, your looks.
Mhm.
Oh, you look good. You know, that's mine. I get it, dude. You can put me under a spell. Hot chicks, dude. You get it. Like you can have me. Like I'm fucking dumb. I'm dumb and I'm impressionable. And if you look really pretty, I'm going to like listen to what you say. I'm going to hear different things because I'm an idiot. And you're going to say all these things, and like red flags to normal people will be going up. And I'd be like, huh, nice. Look at this hot girl. She's talking to me.
Is that a lack of foresight, you think?
Foresight and just insecurities.
Yeah.
I'm obviously overplaying it. I'm a little. Yeah, you've seen growth.
You know,
I've had some growth, dude.
So much better you've ever been. So much better.
Like I will tell a hot girl no because she's crazy, and I'll go no. You don't have this for a second. You used to be able to have it for like. You used to be able to wreck my life. Now you can only inconvenience it for a little while.
You know what's cool? What I've seen though is like, I was telling you this for a while, dude. I was like, you don't need to settle. Like girls like you. You don't need to settle for the first one that like gives you good sex. You can wait until, and like you've been good about this lately, where you're like meeting girls that have more than just that are substantive, that
Yeah,
are
dude,
cool, that are
I think
interesting,
you
that
have
are
to the
fun.
older you get, because like.
And
I actually want
and
to
treat
spend
you
time with you, and I want to have good conversations, and it's important for us to have similar ideas. Also, they can be very different, but like I want somebody who's like self-aware
and that treats you well.
yeah.
I've seen girls treat you like shit, bro.
The narcissists get their hands in me, dude.
Yeah.
I'm putty and suck.
Yeah, I just like narcissism is a house of cards, though. I made like a
Dude, you know what it is, dude? It's just like, for the longest time, my self-worth was so low. And in like high school, I was a late bloomer. So like, I didn't get girls at all. And so like, when I finally started to get them, you know, eventually I like hit puberty and like, you know, was pseudo attractive or whatever. And I could like kind of start to get chicks. I was so lonely and longing for that because I hadn't had it at all. I mean, from, you know, when you start becoming, you know, I've always like been interested in the opposite sex. But, you know, like once high school hits, like you want to have girlfriends, like your friends have girlfriends, your friends are kissing girls. And like, that just was not happening for me at all, you know, until I was like almost 18 years old. And then the first like hot one, you know, first one that was like, I wanted, that was attractive, gave me attention. I just clinged onto it because I didn't, as far as I knew, that was a very sparse commodity.
Yeah.
Right. Like this doesn't come along very often. Like this is like, I need to hang on to it. Not realizing that it was just, you just had to wait, you know, be patient. And
well, the problem
your
was
day will come.
Yours came pretty quickly, but because you had so many insecurities built up to that point, it took years and years and years and years for those insecurities to wash off. And I think
they never
now,
do. They just,
not completely, but now you're finally realizing, okay, I have like this self-worth and like I can have higher
be
standards.
Selective.
Yes.
Because like, I don't need to let a person walk all over me just because they're attractive and give me affection.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't, like, I'm worth more than that. Like what else do you bring? You know, everybody should be that way.
You would think, but the problem is like.
But it's easy for me, like
exactly,
because now it's happened. Like,
there's a lot of lonely men out there,
dude. I fucking feel for those guys.
I do too,
Especially
the younger.
I've been that lonely guy, and it is fucking terrible.
The younger generation of men, and nobody wants to talk about this because it's being perceived as sexist. But let's call a spade
Toxic masculinity,
right? Let's call a spade though. This is loneliness amongst men. Like, you know, you may not like it, but it's here, it's prevalent, and it's getting worse. And so, how do we resolve this situation? I don't think you can. I think that's where integration into AI and just like finding a new form of happiness.
Why do you think these men gravitate to these Andrew Tates and these like guys who were like grifting off of your loneliness?
Yep.
They are literally just
loneliness
trained. Like they're literally like, this dude just has lots of money so he can pay attractive women to be around, because that's essentially what he's doing. Those women do not want to be around him. They are using it to get whatever they want.
Further their own ambitions.
Yeah,
sure.
you know, and so you look at him and you go, that's the ideal man. And it's like, no, that is not the ideal man. That is like legitimate toxic, you know. He's also like a character. He says funny shit. I've laughed at some of the shit he says, because sometimes like people don't, like, he's joking. He's being satirical, but he's also like sometimes fucking serious, saying the same thing. So it's like, and that's a problem, right? Is because who are they going to look up to? These lonely men. They don't know. You know, it's like, is there like a lonely man ambassador? You know, like I used to think Jordan Peterson was that guy. He's got some issues going on, it seems like. But for a long time, I think he was a good voice of reason for those men to say, hey, like, your situation sucks, but you can do things to at least, you know, work hard and be healthy, and that may or may not come. There's no guarantees. You can't guarantee that there's no guarantee that, hey, if you work on yourself and you work hard, that some woman's going to love you one day. There's no guarantee to that, but you got to put yourself in the best possible.
Were we in the middle of saying something?
Yeah, we definitely just didn't go off on like a 4-hour adventure. This is
boop, boop, boop. Nice. Yeah. We just had some technical difficulties.
Literally could not tell you what we were talking about before we stopped.
No idea. Bear or gorilla?
Well, I mean, that's not what we were talking about.
No, I know, but like the bear, I think.
Now, gorilla's going to win a fight.
I feel like the bear would. Like a brown bear. Polar bear for sure.
You think a polar bear's for sure killing a gorilla?
All day.
Have you seen how gorillas kill each other?
They just smash each other's faces. Just smash.
Just smash. Just smash and smash and smash until it stops.
But bears maul. Maul and maul and maul.
Yeah, I guess just because they have fucking claws.
It's the claws. It's like unfair. Yeah.
You think a gorilla's stronger than a bear? No. Like,
I mean, if the curls, yeah, but a bear doesn't have opposable thumbs. So
let's say, like,
how much?
Their towing capacity.
Yeah.
Who's got more towing capacity, a bear or a gorilla?
Bear all day.
You think a bear could tow more weight?
Yeah.
Really?
Those fuckers are strong, dude. Gorillas are top heavy. Like they can curl a lot. They can bench a lot, right? Like how much could a gorilla bench press?
A lot.
Probably more than a bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like, for me, it's aesthetics. They're still strong as fuck. Don't get me wrong. But like bears, you don't see the muscle because there's all the fur. But those fuckers are scary, dude.
Is the bear the apex? Okay, who's winning between a bear and a lion?
Bear all day. Easy.
Easy?
Easy.
A lion?
Lions are lame. Lions are overrated.
Lions kill, though, like, all the time. Is where bears aren't just, like, killing living things.
Nah, but you get a lion. You get a lion near a bear's young, bro. The mother instincts.
You really don't? I think a lion could kill a bear.
Not even.
What?
For real?
Yeah.
Not even.
Yeah.
What about a shark?
You can't have that.
No, you can't. It's
Yeah,
not fair.
you can't have that argument. I'm just trying to think what other apex predators are on land.
Yeah.
That's it, right? Lions, tigers,
Birds.
bears,
Not on land, but yeah.
gorillas.
Yeah.
Does it matter if there's more numbers?
Absolutely.
So
Because lions hunt in packs, right?
no, well, I'm saying
Lions would.
could 5 lions kill 5 bears?
Fuck no. Fuck no. Because they have to like gang up on you. Like they're kind of a gang.
Yeah, but they get
Bears
one and then
just
they
go-
get the other one and then they get the other one.
Meanwhile, the other 4 bears is just mauling the shit out of them. All of them. They're quick though. I've seen a pack of wolves like following a bear, and it's like this tenuous standoff.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a stalemate, but
I don't watch documentaries, but in Ice Age, the movie,
yeah.
they couldn't take down the mammoth. They had to like plant a trap
Was
to
that
get.
not a documentary?
It was close. It was about the Ice Age.
Okay,
Um,
but that's why. Yeah.
yeah, it was loosely based on real events.
Okay.
Yeah, there was like a baby that was taken in by a mammoth, a sloth, and a saber-toothed tiger.
Okay.
It's kind of like an odd couple.
You're
type
sure it's not a
situation.
documentary? I swear I saw.
I
this one
don't
on
know
Netflix.
who wrote it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good movie. Ice Age was good.
Yeah, Netflix is pretty good. Have you seen?
Netflix. I don't watch much Netflix.
No. Have you seen what's that documentary that came out recently? Everyone's talking about it. I can't even think about it.
The Barbie movie?
The dude. Yeah. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the Barbie movie? There's all kinds of
I
controversy
haven't seen
about it.
it.
Right
I
now.
haven't seen it, so I don't have much of an opinion.
But why haven't you seen it?
Because I don't want to be gay.
That makes sense.
Well, like I said earlier, my masculinity and heterosexuality are hanging on by threads at this point. And if I go see the Barbie movie, it might be like the catalyst into full gaydom.
Yeah, for sure. I understand why people are so outraged over Barbie because, what if something very sexy and pink, goes and tempts you, and when you're hanging on by that very thin thread.
Yeah, it's just like why like gay people in general scare me.
Sure.
It's like, oh shit, like what if I make out with one?
Right. Like, why they gotta be so sexy? Oh, I hate them.
Yeah.
Bro, homophobia makes no sense to me, and I almost get like the transphobia thing. I like get because that's more of just a fear of the unknown. I feel like, but like, I even wonder if some people are just like, why are you trying to dress like a woman? Like, confusing me. Like, I feel like some people just genuinely have confused feelings in their own head, and they're just like, oh, I need to lash out.
Yeah, I like. They're scared. And like, what if I sleep with one and it's a guy and I like it?
Yeah.
What if I sleep with a dude that looks exactly like a woman, but it turns out it's a dude and then I like it and I like that? Then now I have to question everything I've ever thought about myself. You know what seriously is a fucking problem though in society right now? Like we've been talking about all this stuff and I want to get like let's end on a serious note. The Sriracha shortage. It's killing me, man. It's killing me. I'm going to all my favorite restaurants, usually of the Asian variety. The Sriracha sauce doesn't exist the way that I know it. And the new stuff, it's just not as good. It's not as good. It's not as spicy. It's not as rich. And it's do we have the cartel to blame? Is that who to blame for the shortage? I know the peppers aren't coming from Mexico the way they used to.
You know, I don't ever criticize the cartel because I think generally they're upstanding individuals. But yeah, I'm going to criticize them on this one.
Yes,
This is the one time I'm going to, you know, be a little bit critical. I think they could do better. I think they could grow more of those peppers down there and maybe, you know, focus a little bit less on the human trafficking side of things.
Yeah, like focus more on the important shit.
Yes.
Let's stop bringing fentanyl into the country. Stop killing our youth.
Sriracha
Fentanyl.
chilies.
Get us some chilies
Please.
to California. Start making sriracha.
This is a plea. Just please, if you can help
Hey,
facilitate
cartel,
the
if
chilies.
you're out there, you know, I can maybe turn a blind eye on a little bit of like the fentanyl coming through. Or like if you really want to get your fentanyl through, put it in chili trucks.
Bro, they'll let you.
We're not even gonna search them. Are those chilies?
Yeah.
We're gonna open it. We're see chilies. Expedite. Get those immediately
Go.
into America.
Yeah, we don't have time to open it.
Get
Just
them
go.
to Northern California, wherever that plant is.
Yeah.
Irvine. I don't know where Irvine is. I feel like it's probably in the middle of California.
It sounds middle-ish.
Yeah. We're
I
gonna
think
go
of
with middle
city.
'cause, yeah, it's a middle city, Irvine.
It just sounds like it,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Like that's you guys are missing a huge opportunity. That's a huge opportunity.
Massive.
Like you can get all the drugs into America, and you can also like support your local communities by like helping them grow these peppers, and then just get them into America so I can go eat pho with the right amount of sriracha sauce in my broth to bring me joy.
And it's a good PR campaign. Like I feel like their publicist needs a little bit of work.
Yeah,
at the
do
moment.
they have a publicist?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think it's the president of Mexico.
See,
Actually.
that's a
Yeah, they pay him a lot of money for those services, I believe. Dude, if any of the presidential candidates ran on bringing sriracha back, nothing else.
I could overlook a lot.
Right.
I could turn a blind eye to a lot.
Right.
Laptop issues, like what's on their laptop? I don't care. Did you bring me sriracha sauce? You ended the shortage? Because like
People are like, how could you support him? He supports
once
genocide.
we end the shortage on sriracha sauce, like everything else is just gonna get easier, dude.
Yeah.
Like let's focus on the root problem with all this mass hysteria is probably the lack of sriracha sauce.
Think about the division in this country. And
If there's one thing that we can be unified on,
yeah,
I think it's that we need to get the sriracha plant up and running and producing sriracha.
yeah,
Quickly.
the animosity and the vitriol can end at the drop of a chili.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Who? I mean, who? We always want to blame somebody. Who can we blame? Is it because is it the drought? Is it global warming? Is it global warming's fault that I don't? Because you know.
that's the best way to get people on board with climate change. It's stopped the sriracha chili peppers.
I'm on board.
I'm on board.
I'm on board. I was maybe a denier.
Whatever. Yeah. I was
Global warming,
ambivalent.
whatever.
I-
Like, I don't.
not gonna affect my
is it
life.
not people like let's figure out what is causing us to not be able to grow these chilies.
Yes. Is it the hurricanes? Is it the famine? Let's figure this
I
out.
got to figure this out.
Yeah.
So
Post
if
haste,
anybody
please.
has any ideas on that, solutions, I would love to hear them.
Yeah, please mention them in the comments because this is a dire
It's
tragedy.
an atrocity that's been going on for far too long.
Yeah.
I told you about the grave mistake I moved and I had a brand new bottle of sriracha sauce and I wasn't sure where I was going to end up. I had I was in between places and I put all my stuff into storage and I should just put the sriracha in storage. It's where I should have put it, but I was like, it's going to get hot in there, compromised. So instead of doing that, I just threw it away because it was an inconvenience to me, not thinking about what a precious commodity I had before me.
You know, there's a lot that I forgive you for. A lot of the horrible things that you've done in the past. I'm not sure about that one, and that actually almost collapsed the podcast.
Yeah, we almost didn't make it through that one.
The friendship really still kind of has a rift in it,
Yeah.
but we're working through it. I appreciate you
I
at least bringing it up.
I take accountability. It was a mistake.
Yeah,
It was an oversight that was unnecessary.
totally.
Just laziness. That was my sloth.
Yeah.
Just I don't know what to do with this sriracha. I should just put it in my backpack. Could have been selling bumps of sriracha. You know.
For a lot of money.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody had that real bottle of sriracha tonight when we were eating, and was like, "You can have a squirt for $5," I probably would have taken them up on that.
Yeah.
Like if it was a real hefty squirt for $5, I would have taken them up on a squirt of sriracha for $5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how much people would pay for like a
$100.
squirt.
I was thinking for a bottle.
For a bottle? Probably
I'd pay
$100.
$100 for a bottle. Like a good sized bottle, not the small one. Doesn't have to be like the giant one.
Sure.
But like that middle sized.
Yeah.
I'd pay $100 for that right now.
I pay 70.
70.
Yeah. I don't use it enough for like to pay 100.
Which was why paying 100 seems easy because you're gonna have it for so long,
Good point.
right? And like
Yeah.
you're gonna ration it when your friends come over. Like, do you have any sriracha? You're gonna be like,
The extra $30.
like I do, but
The longer you have it though, the more those little white letters on the plastic bottle fucking just come off and like get on your hands.
like if you had a bottle of sriracha right now, and like your girlfriend came over and like ate a lot of it, like unnecessarily, would that be a point of contention?
That's not my girlfriend anymore, is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like unless you replace it.
But she'd probably
know she
fill it up.
can't.
She'd fill it up with like the fake sriracha sauce. It'd be like,
Dude, that's actually, dude. We need to crack down on that too. That should be punishable by law.
Yeah, it's like when you
Like,
filled up the
you know
vodka-
the old bottles exist,
Yeah.
and they're putting them out. We saw one today.
I saw it.
We saw it. Didn't look quite right.
Nope.
Bottle was right.
Bottle was the same.
Put it out. The color was off.
They filled the old bottle with the new weird sriracha sauce that's not really sriracha sauce, using different peppers, completely different ingredients.
They shouldn't even call it sriracha of any sort.
No. And it was a
It should be called imposter sauce.
yeah. It was a travesty. It was filth.
Yeah, and there's no accountability.
No.
They just get to do that.
Yeah.
They just get to do that.
I gave them a 1-star review.
That's deserving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite restaurants of all time.
Thinking about firebombing it. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not going to mention it on here because we just have too much of a pull, too much of an audience.
Yeah.
I really don't want to see people lose their jobs. But,
Or their lives.
yeah, and I'll go back there. I'm still going to go back there and eat again. But just know that I know
We know.
this isn't what you're saying it is. It's lies.
Yeah.
You know,
They sit on a bowl of lies.
it's like Hunter Biden's laptop.
Yeah.
Essentially. Just, we know it's on there.
We know.
We know.
We're aware.
We're not going to say anything about it. We're going to pretend we don't know. But we know. I know.
Might have had one of those nights with him.
Yeah. We know.
We're there.
On that note.
That was beautiful. That was a hell of a podcast. Idealist, appreciate you making it out, and look forward to the next one.
Yeah. Let's do it again. I'm ready for some lackluster sriracha-less leftovers.
What a meaningless life we live.
It's tough.
Thanks for watching, everybody.
Well, persevere. All right. Thank you guys. Really, it's too much. It's too much.